Before we start, understand this. This is not a debate, this is not an attack, and this is not for comfort. This is for those of us who have voted, marched, believed, waited, and still feel locked out of our own futures. Democracy is spoken about like it's sacred, like questioning in it is dangerous, like it is the highest form of human freedom. But for Black people across Africa and across the world, democracy often feels less like liberation and more like a performance we are required to participate in. Tonight, we are not asking whether democracy sounds good. We are asking who it actually serves, who it protects, and who it was never built for. If that question makes you uncomfortable, that's not an accident. That discomfort is the point. Democracy, as we were introduced to it, was never built with us in mind. For Black people across Africa and across the world, democracy did not arrive as liberation, it arrived as a condition. It came after conquest, after enslavement, after colonization, after our borders were drawn without us and our resources claimed without consent. We are told democracy means freedom, but our lived experience tells a different story. It often means containment, participation without power, choice without control, a voice that can speak but cannot decide. From the very beginning, democracy did not recognize us as human. The same Western societies that now preach democratic values practice democracy while enslaving Africans, colonizing Africa, and denying Black people the right to vote, own land, or exist with dignity. So when democracy is presented as universal, we must ask, universal for who? Because historically, it was created by Gentiles, people of non-African descent, for themselves, to manage their own societies, their own conflicts, their own interests. We were never part of their design. We were the labor. We were the raw material. We were the property. Even today, democracy treats us differently. In Black nations, democracy comes with supervision, with observers, with approval processes. Our elections are monitored, our leaders are recognized or rejected, our systems are labeled young, fragile, or developing, even when our civilizations predate theirs. Democracy becomes something we are constantly tested on, never trusted with, not a right, but a probation. The truth is democracy has not protected Black people from exploitation. It has often legalized it. Under democratic systems, African minerals are extracted. Under democratic systems, Black communities remain at the bottom of global wealth. Under democratic systems, our currencies collapse while theirs remain protected. Under democratic systems, we vote, yet the economic direction never changes. The faces change, the suffering stays. This is why many Black people feel democracy is an illusion, because real power does not sit in the ballot box. It sits in money systems. It sits in trade rules. It sits in who controls credit, currency, and debt. It sits in who is allowed to break the rules and who is punished for even questioning them. Democracy tells us the people decide, but our reality tells us decisions are already made elsewhere. Across Africa, country after country holds elections, yet their economies remain tied to external lenders, foreign currencies, and global markets that do not answer to African voters. A government can be democratically elected and still be unable to industrialize, unable to protect its currency, unable to prioritize its people without consequences. That punishment does not always come through violence. It comes through downgraded credit, ratings, frozen loans, capital flight, and economic strangulation. So when we say democracy is unfair to black people, this is what we mean. We are allowed to vote for managers, but never for ownership. We can change leaders, but not structures. We are given the ritual of choice without the reality of control. Then there is the money question, the one people mock or oversimplify, but which sits at the heart of global injustice. Western nations can create money with keystrokes, not because they are wiser, not because they are more disciplined, but because their currencies are demanded, protected, and enforced globally. The dollar, the euro, the pound, these are not just currencies, they are shields and weapons. When Western economies face crisis, they create money and call it stimulus. When black nations attempt similar actions, they face inflation, currency collapse, and punishment. Not because money creation is inherently evil, but because the global system does not extend the same tolerance to us. Our currencies are not defended, our economies are not cushioned, our mistakes are fatal, theirs are forgiven. From our perspective, it feels like cheating at the table. The rules are written by those who benefit from them. When they bend the rules, it is innovation. When we do, it is irresponsibility. When they intervene, it is stability. When we intervene, it is corruption. Democracy does not correct this imbalance, it disguises it. Worse still, democracy is used to discipline us. Leaders who challenge Western dominance are labeled threats to democracy. Leaders who comply are praised, even while their people suffer. Democracy becomes the language of control, not liberation, a reward system for obedience. For black people in the diaspora, the story is no different. In democratic societies, we vote consistently, yet remain overpoliced, under-resourced, economically marginalized, and politically ignored. Democracy gives us representation without redistribution, visibility without justice, symbolism without repair. We are told to trust the process while the process preserves inequality. This is why many of us feel democracy is not ours. It was not created to repair our trauma, return stolen wealth, or secure our future. It arrived after devastation and was never paired with restitution. No land back, no wealth restoration, no global restructuring, just ballots and speeches. The most dangerous part of democracy is that it teaches us to blame ourselves. When things fail, we are told it's because we didn't vote correctly, didn't govern well enough, didn't mature fast enough. The system is never questioned, only our ability to survive within it. That is psychological violence. This is not a call for dictatorship. This is not ignorance of corruption. This is a call for honesty. Democracy without economic sovereignty is theatre. Participation without power is deception. Until democracy is rebuilt around black self-determination, control over resources, money, development, and narrative, it will remain what it has always been to us. A beautifully dressed cage. And cages, no matter how elegant, are still cages. Democracy promises freedom, but freedom without power is just permission to speak inside a system you don't control. We have been told to be patient, to trust the process, to believe that if we just participate harder, justice will arrive. But centuries later, the structure remains intact, the hierarchy remains intact, and we are still at the bottom of a system we did not design. So the question is no longer whether democracy works in theory. The question is whether black people can ever be free inside systems that were never meant to serve us. This episode doesn't end with answers, it ends with awareness. Because once you see the cage, you can never pretend the bars aren't there. Silence after this matters. Sit with it.